You're listening to the Uptown Girls podcast. I'm your host, Martina Barley. Let's talk. Do you have any idea how much pressure this part is?
Oh my God, the most.
Like, what? How do you welcome everybody to the Uptown Girls podcast? I'm your host, Martina. Today we have guest, co-host, Tyler Bullington. Say hello.
Hello, Martina. You did a very good job of that opening. As
Thank
much
you.
pressure as you may have felt, I felt like if you would have been alive at the right time, you could have been Bob Barker.
That's like my dream job. To be like a talk show host, game show host.
Was that what you watched when you had sick days in school?
Jerry Springer, Price is Right, all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, those were the best days.
I used to like that. Who was the bald black guy? He was my favorite.
No.
It wasn't Maury.
No,
was it
I
Maury?
thought Maury too. You're thinking of Steve Harvey. Montel Williams.
Montel. That's it. Yeah. I liked Montel, man. He was great.
He was.
Well, that's funny.
Well, welcome to The Price is Right, the Uptown Girls Price is Right. You're our first agent guest. So I'll give you the rules of agent guest because you're the first guest. You can say the F word if you want, but you cannot say the SF word, if you know what I mean.
I do know exactly what you mean. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll just talk about your insurance agency, marketing, business, but I want you to be a little, loosen up a little. We don't need the whole is my workout routine and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, you don't want that. Okay.
I've heard you do that before on a podcast, and I think it's good. I like their podcast, the Weavers one that I'm talking about. I like Courtney a lot, but you can be a little stiff sometimes on those. So
I have had people call me an infinite amount of names in my entire life. Stiff has never been uptight. That's I don't think I've gotten that too much.
All right, well, prove it.
But
then.
This is your podcast, so we'll do whatever the hell you want.
This is my show. This is my show. So we've known each other how long? I mean, we really go way, way back, but
yeah, I don't know, 1984.
1984, I think it was. Yeah, when
when did we start? I mean, I knew you prior to us working together. How long have we been working together? 4 or 5 years?
Probably 5, yeah.
Yeah, 5
Almost
years.
5.
So we've probably known each other from a distance for 7, but we've been working together probably half a decade.
Do you remember how we started working together at Uptown?
I personally slid into your DMs like a creep.
Yep.
I was the approacher.
You were the approacher. A lot of clients that want to learn about our services, they'll, send an email or they'll submit on our website for more information. Not Tyler.
Not creepy enough.
Right into the Facebook DMs.
And not your business page either.
No, it was my personal page.
Add friend, direct message.
I was I remember this guy.
Yeah, I should have even made it a video. That would have made it even better.
I probably wouldn't have picked up the phone. And then you just said, "Give me the pitch, girl." And I said, "Okay." And the rest is history, as it goes.
Here we are.
So tell the listeners that there's probably very few that don't already know who you are. Share a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what you do.
Sure. So I'm an insurance agent. I live in Huntington, West Virginia. Go Her, home of Marshall University. I've been an insurance agent I am in my 12th year. So really my whole life. I got into it right out of college. I worked for an insurance agent for a couple of years. And then I opened mine up in January 1 of 2012. And I've been born in West Virginia, raised in West Virginia. My agency's in West Virginia. I know you like to give me a ton of shit now because my home address is in Ohio. But if anyone asks me, I am a full-fledged West Virginian from the sticks of West Virginia. And I've got married to Chrissy, got 2 beautiful kids, Carson and Xavier, and just try not to be a loser each day.
Do you have a favorite kid?
Ooh, I have favorite things about my kids.
Okay.
How about that? Like Carson, I'm at the point, so my daughter's 10 and a half. So she's slowly getting to the point where she hates me for no reason, but then 30 minutes later loves me more than anyone on earth. So the love part's really great.
Yeah.
And my son, my favorite thing with him is his energy. Regardless of how tired I am when I get home, I can't sit on the couch.
Yeah, little boys are something else. There's so much energy. Never, ever, ever run out of energy.
Feral.
Yeah.
My son is he is a feral animal, but it's great.
So you, I think, are like kind of an interesting breed because you're not really a typical insurance agency owner, and like love them, but some of them are pretty boring, right? Very awful, boring, awful, just as people. So how does somebody with so much personality get into such a mundane industry?
So that's a good way to put it. What did you want to be when you grew up? What did you want to be? I think we've had this conversation, but I want to rehash it. What did you want to be?
I first wanted to be an attorney, and then I realized what law school entailed. So I think I wanted to be an attorney, and I also really have always just had aspirations of being on TV, like in an authoritative way, like a sports broadcaster, a TV show host, something where I'm like, just front center.
You're running the ship. Mm-hmm. You're not like an extra on a soap opera.
No.
Like this is my show.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I was growing up, first I wanted to be like an FBI Secret Service agent, but then I realized that I'm kind of a wuss and I'm not jumping in front of a bullet for it. I would jump in front of a bullet for like my best friend, definitely my kids. Mm-hmm. My best friend, if I knew it was like going to be in the arm or something, like if I knew I'd be fine, I'd take like a Forrest Gump butt bullet or something, but not a real one. So that went to shit. But then like I always wanted to be a stand-up comedian. It was like, I used to watch like Dana Carvey and Jamie Foxx and young Joe Rogan and who was the guy that was so big when we were probably like in our Dane Cook, remember that whole thing? Yeah, that's what I always wanted to do, but it never worked out. Blah 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 blah. But I feel like I've taken my personality into this career, and I think that the industry, almost all businesses have changed in this way. I think social media has done that to a lot of I try to be the same dude from 9 to 5 that I am from 5 to 9. Yeah, the people like the 5 to 9 insurance agent. They don't like the 9 to 5 like stuffy, weird situation kind of thing. And that's one thing I tell people all the time. It's like, just quit being weird.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Quit. You want to sales tactic? How do you get people to listen to you? I don't know. Quit being weird as shit
normal.
all the time.
That's what I think too. Just be normal. Be yourself. Because
here's a secret. Nobody gives a shit about insurance. Like this whole like passionate, like self-discovery, the customer one. They hate it. We're like one step above the dentist.
Yeah.
Like what? And I don't blame them. That nobody likes us at all until they need us. But then when they do need us, you need to make sure you have your shit together and you can take care of people. But so I try to make my career, my job, of the relationships that I have with my customers and my people and my team, I try to make them as real as possible in understanding like that I am in a quote unquote, like you said, mundane industry, but you don't have to make it that way. The best thing about my industry, if you're running an agency or, or whatever you're doing in it, or if you work in an agency of some type, is you get to know if you're a winner or a loser. I feel like a lot of people have jobs. You have a job where you know if you're winning or losing, right? I think that's that's a tangible thing that's super important to have any like gumption about yourself. Because the best mailman in the world, nobody knows his ass.
Well, that's what I was actually going to say. Like, do you think that's something that's specific to sales only?
And the sales, sports.
You want to score.
Man,
you need something with a score.
Yeah,
Did I win or I lose?
Scoreboard.
Am I up or am I down?
I mean, I'm sure the postal industry has some type of something, but the shittiest mailman in the United States of America and the best mailman that has ever existed made the same amount of money, or is on the same scale of whatnot. And that, so I'm very thankful that I'm in a job that isn't like that. Like, I can compare myself against others and have numbers that matter.
That motivates you. And that motivates me too, stuff like that. But there's a lot of people that either intimidates them or they just don't like the pressure of that. And
hey, different strokes for different folks, man. A great book, The Fred Factor. If nobody's read it, it's about a mailman. It's one of the greatest books I've ever read. Real short.
Okay. All right. So
big reader.
You are a big reader. You're a writer too. You wrote a book, right?
I did. Yeah. Like 2015 or 16. It's called The 2% Edge. You can find it on Amazon. Just put in Tyler Bullington book. It'll pop up.
Okay, great.
And if you love it, leave a review. If you hate it,
leave a review.
Give it to yourself. Give it to yourself.
So as a non-traditional business owner, and you're in this very, very small town, give us 30 seconds on Huntington.
Yeah. There's probably within the city limits, 50 to 60,000 people. West Virginia doesn't have a city, but if we did, I would kind of in it. The tri-state area probably has, I don't know. So I'm right on the border of West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky. So the tri-state area's probably got like 250,000, maybe 300,000 people within a 50, 60 mile radius. But small college town, great little place to live. Love living here. That's
the first time I've heard you describe it and not use the term obesity or cigarettes or oxygen.
It's bad. No, it's bad and gross. Don't get me wrong. Right? West Virginia is the poorest state in the country. And I think Huntington's at one point in time was like the third fattest city in America. So don't, make no mistake. There are there's tons of room for improvement.
Maybe not tons of room, but there's tons of room for improvement.
Yeah. Like bazinga. Look at you. You're so quick and clever.
I know I am. How did you build up your presence in such a small town? And I mean, if you started in 2012, so that's the start of when things are becoming digital. I've known you for 7-8 years, we said, because you've been doing digital marketing. So obviously you do digital marketing with us now, but just kind of in general, how did you build up such a big presence in such a small town?
Whenever I talk to people about that situation, people are like, how do you find customers, or how have you grown into whatever, right? So like I've succeeded or am succeeding. It's not like I've arrived. It's not like I'm done. It's kind of like being in shape. You don't have a workout and go, oh, I did it. I never have to do shit again. Like that's not how it works. I'm standing on a giant mountain of trash. That's how I've gotten to where I've gotten. And it just comes over time of continually showing up, right? So I do a lot with Marshall University here that I've mentioned. It's a great small college. Huntington doesn't exist without Marshall. Marshall doesn't exist without Huntington. So there's probably something in whatever town you're in, whatever section you're in, that exists like that, to where it's like the central hub of Rochester, or that, place Rochester styles may have a couple.
Yeah.
You need to ingrain yourself into that situation, and the digital marketing and showing up and sponsor. It's funny. I had a call yesterday talking about this. And one thing that I said on branding marketing for yourself, much less your business, just like your own brand, is if it sucks or it's cheap as hell, don't do it. Don't do it. You're not getting a bargain to show up at the $90 flea market expo and set up a tent. Like no, you don't want to be there. You're not going to get anything. Your team doesn't want to be there.
Can I stop you?
Kind of establish yourself.
You're going on a tangent, and I need to rein you in for a second.
Okay.
I want you to clarify. So if I'm a brand new insurance agent, or I'm a brand new business owner, or maybe I'm a business owner, insurance agent that's kind of like stuck in a rut, and I've never done community events. So when you say we do a lot with Marshall University, what do? Do you go in and sit down and go to class? Do you host a tailgate? What are you doing exactly?
Yes. So like do shit that you like to do and that other people like to do. That could kind of correlate to what we said earlier. Nobody likes insurance, but everybody likes the tailgate, right? So I have a real nice tailgate spot at the football games. I make sure that I'm there.
So that means your tent, your business tent, your brand is there. You're giving out branded cups or
things
kegs
like
or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, koozies and people that walk by, make sure that you're saying hello, right? And the first to get, and for everybody that's just getting started, the first time you do it, nothing's going to happen, right? That you join your country club, you're not going to get customers. But if you keep showing up over time, over and over and over and over a decade time span, you're going to be standing on the top of a giant mound of trash. Isn't that
the dream?
Isn't that what am I? What's the word that I'm trying to speak of? It's just very. I have such a good way with words. You know?
Yeah. You can't think of the word for being good with words, but I get what you're saying.
But that's it. Shut up.
So being in such a big small town, do you find that because you travel a lot and you're fairly with it? Do you feel that your town has been harder to like adapt to digital stuff?
I would say that we're a year to 2 years behind. I would have said when I started in 2012, we were 5 years behind the rest of everywhere else.
So meaning that
but I think we've made a lot of steps.
So do you think that like people were searching less on their cell phones and they were still on computers or the yellow, like were people using the yellow pages 5 years ago?
I mean, I wouldn't say that the phone book didn't exist. Maybe more like newspaper than the yellow pages. Like we were probably only going to a lot of traditional media and still do to a certain extent. I mean, I think that still has a small place like mailers or traditional media for a particular market, you know. But I think that to put on the digital side, I would say that we're still slightly behind, but we've made leaps and leaps and bounds from where I started.
Do you think that has almost helped you because you're kind of more of a in-person personality? You like to shake a hand and talk and make someone laugh. So do you think that that's to your benefit?
So I think that when you're dealing with a high net worth clientele that is in people that are in the community, I think that's super beneficial to be in person, do those things, and I still enjoy that, right? And I think that's what a lot of agents. So now you have to do both. You have to do both. That's that all it's right. You have to do the digital. You have to reach people way out of your market. You have to make sure that you're known. But at the same time, man, like people don't shake hands and look people in the eyes anymore. And yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and yes, sir, and no, sir, and open the door for people and tell a freaking joke. They don't do it anymore. Like me, how we met was in your direct messages, right? Send you a message that said, Martina, please help. But then you've got to be able to follow that up and actually be able to freaking talk to people.
Right.
So I think that by being able to do both continually, that it's helped my business a bunch.
So you said high net worth. There are high net worth people there?
Yeah, I think.
So
2 or 3.
If you can find them there, you can find them anywhere. You should be able to, right?
Yes, I totally agree. I think that people are silly when they can't find prospects or they can't find customers or they can't find people to be. It's silly to me. People need help, just like I need help, right?
Wow.
Just like
different story, but yeah,
obviously, obviously, right? But people want and need, and there's a buddy of mine. I won't mention his name, but he's an insurance agent as well, in Virginia. And I've probably told you this story, but I'll tell it real quick. And I was a brand new agent trying to find my way. Like, I don't know what the hell to do. Maybe I'm winning, maybe I'm not. Like, what do I do? How do you do this? You're trying to get the secret, like that it doesn't exist, but you're trying to find the secret. And I sent him an email, and I hadn't proven myself yet. Nobody knew my ass. I hadn't done any numbers. I hadn't won any awards. So I hadn't proven myself. This, in any type of sales industry, you kind of got to show that you're not going to be a flash in the pan before you get somebody's attention, or before you're able to reach out for help for somebody of this guy's caliber. And I reached out for help for free and said, hey, man, like, would you have 15 minutes that we could sit and talk and blah, 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 blah. And he was nice enough to at least answer my email. Yeah. And he said in that email, he said, people, hey, man, good luck. But people like to do business with people they like. Make sure they remember you. And I have thought about that statement. People like to do business with people they like. Make sure that they remember you. I have thought about that. Still think about it. I mean, almost every time I talk to somebody like I'm talking to you right now, that story comes up and I think about that. And like, that is such a difference maker. And just, are you somebody that people want to be around? Don't
you think it's so much more valuable than like the lowest price or even the most convenient or whatever? Like, my business is the same way as yours. If people didn't like us, they have other options. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I buy my clothes from somebody that I could maybe find it cheaper. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I could find it cheaper, because I would never buy my shit from anybody but this guy, because he's that good. Right?
What, is he like a tailor? He makes all your clothes for you?
Yeah. Well, he doesn't make them, but I'm built like a Neanderthal, so I do have to have them like specifically
special clothes. Gotcha.
Put together. Yeah.
Yeah. You actually taught me something from going to 12 of your classes and listening to you say the same thing over and over and over. Something that I like, because I feel like a lot of times insurance agents and any business owner, you're like hesitant if you're doing well to let your clients know that you're doing well. But you made it clear that like people want to work with people that are successful. So like, it's okay if you drive your Mercedes to a meeting with somebody. It's okay if they know you have a big house. Like, you're still going to take care of them either way. But
right, absolutely, it is, man. And I think that that's like it's funny to say out loud, and this isn't saying it like, am I confident in my abilities? Am I success? Yes, I am. Could all this shit be taken away tomorrow? Absolutely, it could. If I quit showing up and trying to work. But I'm an American success story. Like, I'm an American dream. I get to do shit that, like, I asked you earlier what you wanted to be when you grew up. I am doing things in my life that I didn't even know you could dream about. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know. I didn't even, the way that I grew up, where I grew up, like New York City was just like something that they built for movies. Like, it wasn't an actual place. And I've went there, and I've stood on the Marriott Marquis, on stage at the Marriott Marquis, and given a lecture about financial services in Times Square. Like that's not a real thing.
If they're going to let you do that,
I've got to do all these things.
If they'll let you do that, they'll let anyone do that.
The world is in absolute shambles. But I agree. I think that people want to do business, like you said, with people that are successful. And that doesn't mean to be brash and gross about it. I'm not freaking Floyd Mayweather, right? But my industry, like the insurance industry, had this weird thing of like, if you had a nice car or wore a nice shirt or your office looked nice, that your customers would like, well, I can see where my insurance premiums are going. And that shit lasted for a century. Like even when I got into it 12 years ago, it's still like the resemblance was there. It existed a little bit. And luckily that I think those times have come and gone. Maybe not totally though. You've been to some meetings with me where people still are like very hesitant to not buy their shoes from freaking Discount Shoe Warehouse or something. Yeah. Not that they don't have nice shoes.
Insurance agents in general are just, because it's an old school industry, it attracts people that have kind of a conservative old school mindset. So I feel like 75% of 19,000 or whatever we're talking about is still very, very old school. Won't get out of like the 1999 way of doing things. And there's still to this day people that we talk to that don't want to put money into online marketing.
No, zero chance. No, but yeah, people don't shop there. Right?
Yeah.
It's a waste of my money.
Can
or
you
blah,
imagine?
blah, 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 blah.
So
Yeah.
business owners in general, take yourself out of insurance for a minute. What would you say are your two biggest marketing tips for anybody in any business?
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Marketing. So, my two biggest marketing tips for anybody in any business. Number one, change the way. So this isn't like a particular like marketing tactic per se, but change the vernacular in your brain of like, I'm spending money on this to I'm investing capital. I wish way early on in my career that I would have realized that online marketing or event marketing or making your presence more known or billboards when you first start or whatever that it is. What I wish I would have thought of that as like almost putting into the stock market for 12 years later. And I didn't. I was just worried about just pure expense management where yes, it's an expense, but it's also an investment of your capital.
Thank you for saying that.
An investment of your capital. So that's the first thing that I would say is like, you've got to change that in your brain. And you can like words matter. The way that you talk to yourself matters, and the way that you structure things in your mind matter. So I make capital investments into my agency daily in the marketing frame. The second thing that I would say is there are a lot of different marketing tactics in 2023. You have to have a strong online brand. You have to. I don't even feel like that is advice. That's
goes without saying.
Yeah, dumbass. You might want to be online, right? But the other thing that I would say for number two is you have to throw a lot of things against the wall in your particular market and figure out what is effective to you, and then double down on that. Double down. You know, I only do maybe three strong marketing tactics per se, but I throw a lot of capital at those things because that's what works in my market. Your market could be totally different. I know a gentleman who's a good friend of mine down in Naples, Florida, who still his largest return on investment is mailers, because there the structure's weird to where you can't insure homes real close to the coast and things. So he has to pick particular zip codes and mail to that particular zip code, and et cetera, et cetera. That shit would never work where I live. Yeah, I've tried. It's a disaster. So I would tell you that. Number one, change the thoughts in your mind. Change the words. You are investing into the future of your business, regardless of what business that is. And then at the beginning, you have to try everything and pay very close attention to what gives you the best ROI in your market, and then quadruple down on those few things until they quit working.
I have two notes after that. The first thing is the Florida thing. I don't know how much you know about Florida. Maybe I should be asking a Florida insurance agent this, but the Real Housewives of Miami, one of the husbands is an insurance attorney. And I just read that he was they're under investigation because he's filing a bunch of lawsuits against insurance companies. And it was saying that that's part of what is making the premium go up. And it's going to be this whole big fraud investigation. Do you know anything about that? Can you speak to that? No.
Okay. I got no clue.
Right.
I do know that I do know that legislation in every insurance, that in every state is a hidden cost that consumers and agents out that causes premium increases. The amount of money that we have to spend on legal fees that really comes to no resolution is insanity. Yeah, insanity. So I imagine Florida's the same way.
My second thing that I wanted to ask on that, what was your biggest marketing fail? Like whether it was money or whether it was something like you thought was going to be the best thing ever and it just flopped?
Sure. I used to do a lot of expos, for me, like Home and Garden Expo or a Women's Expo or whatever. And I would set up a booth and we would do little name things and hand out stuff. And would you like for me to, and then we would follow up a week or two later. People just hand you names to get free shit, right?
They make up a name.
Yeah. So I realized very quickly, they make up a name and give a fake number like you're at a bar or something. But it's so that was a disaster for me. And plus it was like, taking away, I have learned in my career, and I'm not speaking for every business owner in the world. I'm sure some of this works, but people that this has worked for. But I never get any business, nor do I enjoy being at a function where people are just trying to get each other's business. It's an absolute nightmare. I hate everybody there is got on a fake face and they're trying to sell their product to the next person, to the next person, to the next. So they tell you they'll buy yours, so you buy theirs, et cetera, et cetera. I hate it. I've always hated that stuff. I have made so much more business across a bar stool than I have my actual desk. I've made way more business out on the golf course than I have, setting up at a business to business meeting. So that goes all the way back to the weird thing.
I think that's something that is like natural for you. But if somebody was not understanding, how does he go to a bar and find business that way without being overly salesy? Like, explain that more for somebody who's maybe not as confident in that.
It's a learned skill. I will say two things. I think that I am inherently good at, like, I don't have any business right now. I'm pulling that out of my ass. Like, I'm able to do that. And I understand that that's a talent more than a skill. I'm blessed that I have that ability. And but it's also a learned skill. I think do you know who Gabrielle Reese is?
No.
I feel like you would. Okay. You know who Laird Hamilton is?
No. I know Alexander Hamilton.
Laird Hamilton is a big wave surfer in Hawaii.
Okay.
And Gabrielle Reese is his wife. And she was like an all-world beach volleyball player. And I listened to a podcast with her one day. And she said that, I probably told you this story too, but you get to hear it again. But she said on that podcast, she was like, I kind of live my life in a go first mentality. So people are always scared to go first. This is the learned skill part of it. People are always scared to go first. People are always scared to say hello first. People are always scared to look someone in the eye first. People are always scared to open the door for someone else first. People are always scared to set up the party and fear that nobody will show up. People are always scared to like go first in any type of like relationship way or any type of communication way. And I live my life by that. Everybody like wants to feel wanted, but nobody wants to put themselves out there and go first. Mm-hmm. So if you start doing that and realize that, 20% of people, so 2 out of every 10 people that you're nice to are going to be assholes. There's no way that you can change that. Yeah. 20% of the population are horrible people. They're just always hateful. They're always mad. They're never going to be happy. But if you could just throw that off and realize that, like, okay, if I go first with 20 people today, and I go out of my way to be kind or open the door or say hello or make a joke or whatever the hell it is, if I do that for 20 people today and it makes 2 of those 20 people's day infinitely better. If I do that over a 10-year time frame, how many people's day have I made better? And how many of those people may bring me business? And then how many of those people send me more business? So I continually go first. So think about that, like throughout your day. Look for opportunities to speak up and talk to people. So I know that some people are introverted, and that's like super hard for them. You're not. I'm not. But I don't understand. So maybe if you had like a true introvert on the show, they could explain it to us. Yeah. But I don't know how someone could be in this industry or almost any sales industry and be super introverted. And if you are, and this is your chosen, that does that mean you can't go home in the evenings and like spend a quiet evening at home? No, that's not what the hell I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, if it is very difficult for you to talk to a stranger, in my eyes, it's going to be very difficult for you to be successful in this industry or any sales industry.
If you can't say hi to someone, you can't ask them for money.
Yeah, that's where it starts.
You know? Okay, that leads me to any business, general advice, one sales tip.
One sales tip. Okay. So I think you need to know your shit. You need to be an absolute expert. You need to know your shit so well that you can explain it in an unbelievably simple term. Like the only way that you can explain something in a way that a 10-year-old could understand it is to know it back and forth.
Yeah.
So my shtick, I guess, is kind of like the life insurance and annuity world. Mm-hmm. I'm good. I can go as deep in those weeds as you want to freaking go. Mm-hmm. I can like weird tax law, weird advantages, the disadvantages, the highs, the lows, the lefts, the rights, I know that shit, but I know it so well that I'm able to explain it in a super, super, super simple term. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing that same thing with homes, if you're doing that same thing with hotel packages, if you're doing that same thing with digital marketing, right? I'm sure that you could bore me to tears with the ins and outs of digital marketing and what all that shit means and IP addresses and click for bait crap. I don't know. I don't know the words that you use. Yeah. I'm sure that you know it, but you know it so well. And I know that you know it so well that I can just trust you. Mm-hmm. And so whatever you are selling, before you try to sell it to someone, you better know everything about it and you better own it. There's a little caveat as well. If you sell Chevys and drive a Toyota, shame on you.
Yeah. A confused mind never buys. If someone's confused, they're not ever going to move forward with something. Yeah, put that one in your pocket.
That's good. I like that. Can I say I made that up?
Yeah, you can say you made that up. Because I probably take enough things that you say and act like it's something I made up. So it's only fair. That's fair.
Okay. I confused my never buys. Yeah. Tyler Bullington. I'm going to get that in like Bath and Body Works on a sign that people hang up in their bathrooms.
It actually leads me to my last point that I had here. And this is something I love about you. You're kind of like do you remember the Beverly Hillbillies? That show?
Yes.
That's like you,
and I
right?
don't know where this is going. Yeah.
That's like you. You're a complete hillbilly, but you've put yourself in a position to be successful, travel a lot of cool places, go a lot of cool places. And we always see each other on some type of conference, right? So we're usually in a very nice city. We're usually at a very nice restaurant or hotel or something. And something you always do, and I want to ask if this is this something you do intentionally or is this something you just naturally do? You always make everybody around you like kind of stop and smell the roses. Like, look where we are. I never thought I'd be somewhere. Look at this view. Look at that cheeseburger. Like anything, you're like, stop and take this in. I know, right? And I after so many times, I'm like, I wonder if he wants me to pause and really take this in, or is he just really naturally like blown away by this? Because you've been in this game for a long time. This is not your first nice restaurant, but you act like it is every time. Well,
that may be a little bit wine induced, but I always, that's fair. But I always try to realize there was my apartment, the second place that we ever had that was on our own used to be, before we got there, it was like a real cheap efficiency hotel. And so the living room was too small to put a couch in. So there was just like a little love seat. And then off of that was the washer and dryer closet. And it was a stacked unit. And then the kitchen was one little hallway. And you had to step out of the way of the refrigerator door to open it and get back in front of it because the wall was right there. And then a little tiny bedroom and a little tiny bathroom. And then there was one window, but there was an air conditioning unit in it. So there was like no sunlight. And I think about that all the time of like, I used to, our date night when I didn't have, when we didn't have anything, just in school or trying to figure out what the hell you're going to do with your life. And I remember that like little phase of like, what the hell am I going to do with my life? That's like I don't know if there's like a shittier place to be. I mean, I'm sure that there are, but as like a young individual trying to figure out or maybe not even young, you could be 48 years old right now and be like, what the hell am I going to do? That's like a dark, weird, shitty place to be. And I remember being in that place, and on date night, we would go to Pizza Hut. Yeah. And the high school, the place that we were living, had a soccer field that had a track around it. And the track was always open. So, like until midnight or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, we would go walk the track, and I would talk about after, your $8 pizza. I would walk that track, and I didn't know how. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what industry I would be in. I didn't know how I was going to get there. But I would talk about every single time the house that I would live in and what it would look like, and the car that I would drive, and the clothes that I would wear, and the places that I would see, and the things that I wanted, and the neighborhood I wanted to live in, and where I wanted my kids to go to school, and what I would like say out loud, like, this is what it's going to be. Like, what's your dream house? So ask whoever's there, if you're listening to this, ask yourself that, like, what's your dream house? Okay, now how the fuck are you going to get there? What's your dream car? Well, why aren't you driving it? I'm not saying that you can like magically just drive it in a week, but I am saying, thank God that we live in a place to where you can eventually, you can make that happen. So I think that the reason that I've been able to stay grounded through my success, or at least I hope I've been able to, is that like I have got to do so much cool shit that I always remember that it's still really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like 98% of people that are born and live and die will not get to do the shit that I've got to do, golf the places that I've got to golf, and eat the places I've got to eat. And that sucks. Like that sucks for them that they're not going to get to do that. But since I've gotten to, I don't ever want to be like, well, this filet isn't as good as the last filet. Yeah. Yeah. Like that. I just, and maybe that's because I didn't grow up. I didn't grow up like hungry, but I didn't, Myrtle Beach every 6 years in my household was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. A great big deal. And so maybe that has a little bit to do with it, but I also think it was how I was raised and just how I try to continue to be. Nobody likes a spoiled brat. I tell my daughter that all the time. Nobody likes a spoiled ass, and nobody likes a crybaby.
And it's interesting because in what you do, I mean, you're very humble considering that if you go to a city and say that you're going to talk about life insurance, people pay to come watch you speak, and you have a very successful agency, and not a lot of you guys are humble anymore. If some of them ever were, you know what I mean? And I think that's probably what makes you likable, and people like to do business with people they like. So maybe the moral of the story is if you just be normal, you'll be successful. Just don't be weird.
Yeah.
Just be yourself.
And yes, I like that a lot. And this is to jump on that a little bit. This whole like movement of like, you're perfect the way you are shit is an absolute lie.
Yeah.
You're not. And for people that are listening to this that are like, I'm really unhappy with X, right? Like, okay, I'm really unhappy with my weight, or I'm really unhappy with the way I treat my friends, or I'm really unhappy with the way that I never show up on time, or I'm really unhappy with my finances, whatever it is in your life that you're probably not super thrilled about yourself with, whatever keeps you up at night, whatever makes you feel like you're a loser. Well, if you were perfect the way you are, then you can't change it. Yeah, because it's already, so you're not. And I think that is something that I'm lucky that my parents kind of taught me, is like, you can be who you want to be, but you have to act like that. So this whole wave of, just be true to you is a big pile of dog shit, everybody. Yeah.
Maybe we should leave it there. I mean, do you have any last words, any last insight for anybody that's made it all this way through with us here?
Yeah. Well, if you have, God bless you. For the 17 people that made it an hour through, congratulations.
The moral at the end was just don't be a pile of shit.
Yeah, Yeah, just don't be a pile of shit. Nah, Marty, you're the best, and I'm proud of you and all the success that you're having in this podcast and everything else.
Thank you.
I remember little baby loser Marty, and now look at her, big boss girl.
Not
Marty.
many do, but you're lucky that you do. Well, thank you for coming on, and I know you said all the success that we're having in this podcast. This will only be the 3rd episode, so it's yet to be determined if it's a success. But
this is the one that blows it up.
This is the episode. What do they call it? Where it will go viral.
Yeah. What was your guy's name that's doing the recording?
Scott.
That we were there. All right, Scott, don't blow this.
Scott, don't blow this.
You've got a gold mine sitting here.
What do they say at the end of podcasts? Like and subscribe and share and
please click here wherever you click
click the link in our bio to subscribe.
Tell your friends.
Tell all your friends.
Yeah.
But thank you for listening. Thank you, Tyler. It's been fun. It's been real. We'll see you next time.